They told you freedom was given. They told you sovereignty was granted if you prayed enough, obeyed enough, gave enough, performed enough. But what no one else tells you is this: sovereignty was never handed down. It was always something you had to take back. And taking it back will be the most terrifying and the absolute most liberating thing you'll ever do in this life. I know, because I lived it. For years, I thought I was free. Singing about liberty, quoting scriptures to everybody, manifesting in journals, chasing retreats and conferences, yelling it on the mountaintops. But deep down, I was still waiting for someone to stamp me approved. I felt so powerless. Like my worth was always on trial in somebody else's court. Religion told me to wait on God, wait for my season. Culture told me to follow the rules, don't rock the boat too much. Family told me to stay small. Who do you think you are? Do you know where you come from? And I believed them until the day I realized that every single voice that kept me waiting was just another chain in my story. That's the gap that so many of us live in. We label it and call it freedom, but it feels like we're begging. We wear obedience like it's liberation, but it's actually containment. We ask others for permission to exist fully, and then we wonder why joy feels rented, why peace slips through our fingers. The truth is, no system out there, no pastor, no family approval can give you sovereignty. Because sovereignty isn't given. It isn't handed out. It's remembered. It's reclaimed. And that gap between what we were promised and what we actually get to live, that gap is where shame breeds. That gap is where delay lives. That gap is where hope keeps you hustling and grinding instead of standing. I know I sat in that gap full of shame because I was waiting to be rescued. I wasn't living the life that I was created to live. I was hoping that I would be rescued, that someone would notice me and that would help me or give me a handout. Yes, I was doing some work. Yes, I was praying and fasting and doing all the things, but there was still a part of me still waiting to be rescued by somebody, anybody to notice me. So, here's the audacity to say out loud. If you're bold enough, brave enough, and have the courage enough to say, I don't need your permission slip to say I was never blocked. I was buffering for belonging, and now I exit the loop. You see, audacity to be sovereign is the courage to stop outsourcing your authority. You're giving away your power. And to start listening to the God, to the intuition that is within you. To trust your own knowing. See, everyone and everything around us has been teaching us to trust every other source, every other book, every other voice, instead of learning to trust our inner knowing. I'm going to be honest with you. I was afraid to trust my inner knowing because I had been taught, oh, I was in so much sin and you did things wrong and I made the wrong choices in relationships and I made the wrong choices and I failed in some areas. And even though they tell you if you fall down, get up 7 times, but they also teach you that you're a failure for trying low key. And that subliminal message caused me not to trust my inner truth. So to anchor in remembrance instead of running to the next altar call or to the next manifestation high, because yes, the high feels good, but sovereignty doesn't crash. Sovereignty stabilizes. Sovereignty builds a life where you don't have to beg to eat, beg to be loved, beg to be seen, beg to be your most highest and best self, beg to live the life that is deep down that you are so afraid to say. You just simply are. For me, claiming sovereignty was scarier than any roller coaster. Scarier than quitting my job. Scarier than walking away from the titles. Because it meant I couldn't hide anymore. I couldn't pin my disappointment on God, or on my parents, or on a broken system or a broken church. It meant that if I was still in chains, it was because I was the one gripping them. That truth broke me open. That truth I wrestled with for years. Because what do you mean? I'm in the predicament I'm in because of me? No. Others did things to me. No, situations. No, I didn't have the opportunities. No, the system. Yes, all of those things are true. However, you still have the power to create the life you desire. I will say that one more time. You, my dear, have the power to create the life you desire. That is fully within your capability. Because see, once I own that, fully own that, that fear turned into fuel. Because I was responsible. And responsibility became relief. Because if it's me, then it's mine. And if it's mine, I can change it. That's the shift that set me free. It wasn't given. I had to take it back. I had to recognize that, yes, it is all up to me, but I also get to take the responsibility. I get to choose. It is my choice. Instead of believing that I was inferior, I couldn't trust myself, I couldn't make the right choices, I started saying, hey, I'm going to check in, I'm going to tune in, I'm going to trust my intuition, and I'm going to make the best choices with the best information I currently have, and that will be enough, and I will continually be guided and directed. I don't have to do this on my own. But I do have to take my sovereignty back. And that's the only way I was able to be set free. See, this sovereignty is not arrogance. This is why it's identity. Because culture will call it rebellion. Religion will call it pride. Family will call it disrespect. But what it really is remembrance. You remembering you were never meant to beg for the air you breathe. You were never meant to perform for crumbs. You, my dear, were created in the image of power itself. And when you stop outsourcing your own power, you stop giving it away, people will get uncomfortable. They'll call you audacious, and that's fine, because audacity is just simply what sovereignty looks like when it's finally embodied. When you start holding up boundaries, when you start trusting your intuition, when you start politely saying no to things that no longer serve you, when you start taking care of yourself, doing self-care, not just going to the mall and buying things, but really having autonomy over yourself and your life. And giving yourself the grace to make mistakes, the grace to get back up again and still know that you are whole, you are worthy, you are loved, you are enough. It's like realizing you were sitting in a prison with the door unlocked. For years you've been rattling the bars, crying for someone to let you out, someone to see you, someone to take pity on you, because you're not as bad as someone else. You deserve the things that you hope for. I mean, look at someone else who's done worse than you and they've got a better life than you. We've all said it within ourselves. And then one day you notice the key has been in your pocket the entire time. It's like Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz. She had the power to go home the entire time. The audacity to be sovereign is the moment you stop shaking the bars and start walking out the door. Terrifying, yes. Because once you step through, you will never mistake the cage for home again. Because you will know that you were made for more, you were built for more, you have the power to receive more, you have more clarity, you are more focused, you have more certainty, because you know who you are. You know who you can be, and you know you have the capacity to be more, and the grace to grow and expand through it all. So, let me ask you this. Where are you still waiting for permission slips? Where have you been mistaken? Where have you mistaken obedience for freedom? And what would it look like if today, this wonderful, beautiful day, where you did not stumble on this video by accident? Your subconscious called it in. And you've made it this far. This is for you. What if you took the key out of your pocket and walked out of the cage? Because sovereignty will not be given. It must be taken back. And when you do, you don't just free yourself. You break the pattern for everyone watching you, because others will see what is available. They'll know that if you can, they can too. You'll let them know what is possible. Not based on some book of what they heard or what someone is preaching at them. They will see by your life. And if this stirred something in you, start by anchoring your daily life in remembrance. I created a free 3-day soul reset to help you practice this shift. You can download it right now. The link is in the description. And if this SoulFire spoke to you, subscribe and stay with me through this series, because next we'll go deeper into the audacity to take up space like you own it. Until then, travel beautifully, heal deeply, and align fully. Thanks for watching.